Christina, Universe Citizen, presents In the Beginning, September 22nd, 2023. Designing an Essential Education System. Now, let's design an essential education system. Since the foundations of the Republic, a constitutional democracy, is being invaded by education self-interests from multifaceted, paradoxical parodies. Our design science strategy is written to be spoken in the English language, which primarily derives from Greek and Latin roots. The importance of this decision actually was inspired by many words that, when researched in Webster's Collegiate dictionary, resulted correlatively to unexpected insights and outlooks that further encouraged objective intellects already experienced familiarity with universe's minimum structural system, a polyhedron. Poly from Greek, many. Hedron from Greek, sides, surfaces. The conceptual model is known as the tetrahedron. Tetra from Greek, four. Most interesting is that the tetrahedron is identified as the particulate. So imagine, after talking these relevant facts of science, the language of conceptual topological geometrical clarity, when much later the prefix par in the word paradox and parody refer to the ancient languages, para from Greek and later par from Latin. Obviously, the particulate, the tetrahedron, universe's minimum structural system, must be elementary to an omni-rational, omni-comprehensive education from kindergarten throughout the omnidirectional universal communications process before any authority of the PMRS, politics, military, religion, societies, and as population in the world increase, authorities of the PRJWBCHM. Politics, religion, justice, war, belief complexes, hierarchical matrix. Coincidentally, I wrote those acronyms integrally to my conceptual explorations and deeply concerned curiosity about the reenacting articulations, the contextual parameters of which eventually could be described thus as serves a type of all-inclusive convenience. Admittedly, though, these insights and outlooks require decades of observing the reenacting articulations, which interest from my early education correlate to truth. Truth to an observing child is uniquely individual. At minimum, truth is a relationship, a direction, and a conceptuality of the value zero. The origin of zero is from Arabic cipher. So now we have origins from Greek, Latin, Arabic for our, English language essential education system. Awareness as such always requires closer scrutiny, primarily because egotistically competitive powers can permeate education strategies, some of which are more interested in the power to control human behavior than to understand and comprehend systemic thoughts, conceptual consciousness evolution. This might be when cipher and code are evaluated as manipulated algorithms that do not derive from nature as the energy unit we will learn more about as our essential education system continues to develop and evolve. When the value of 0 is unknown, unrelated to anticipatory thought, not factored into the spoken language by the immediate family, the nuclear family, the learning environment from others, and instructing institutions, a conceptuality of the particulate does not become relevant to recognizing underway and potential interrelationships, interactions, intertransformation. In any event, it is size alone that can come to 0, not the conceptuality. It is a conceptuality of the pattern that is gleaned, abstracted from the physical environment, the imagined something or other, whether the real thing or simply a type of illusion caused by different lighting effects of nature and by human innovation, is independent of size, time-space sizing. Is it time 0 sizing? Time 0 time? With respect to observing the reenacting articulation, I always remember Fuller's clarity when he wrote, in quotes, "The articulations are ever reenacted each time, hoping to reduce the tolerance magnitude of the residual inaccuracies of observation and articulation." Of ancient times, aware of this ability, when Roman numerals could not easily perform multiplication by division, as the Arabic mentality identified the cipher, and later, perhaps, as the symbol 0 was called 0. Zero tolerance seems contradictory to the context, but not reducing the magnitude of the tolerance to eventually recognize 2 of the always and only coexisting complementarities that physics has found: 0 and system, 0 and heat. Amongst these design science teams gathered here are geometers, physicists, engineers, whose mathematical skills and education pridefully excel according to their innate and inherent competence from various schools of knowledge. Those coordinate systems, therefore, momentarily can be set aside, because the focus here is on R. Buckminster Fuller's synergetics, which explains his discoveries of nature's coordinate system for our humanities' elementary education advantage. The generalized topological models do not conflict with anticipatory democracy with respect to conservation throughout the Republic and its constitutional system's initial and ongoing experiential experimental intention to form a more perfect union. This is especially noteworthy since the particulate, a tetrahedron, is a model of one quantum of energy, a quantum module. Not only is this so, correlating to awareness of its topological characteristics, that describe one quantum of energy, it also coincides with the constant relative abundance of lines, areas, corners, also known as vectors, triangular openings, and vertexes. Hypothetically, the vector is conceptualized and physically realized. Each vector's mass times its velocity equals 0. So, technically and literally, the child's conceptual and reasoning, systemic thought, is potentially working with the environment of abundant energy that, according to thermodynamic law, is neither created nor is ever lost in universe. Therefore, is eternally conserved. The abundant energy, in other words, is always self-regenerating and is 100% accountable, albeit not 100% visible and humanly detectable, even though, and unlike manifest forms of energy, innovative humans use for fueling, heating devices, driving motor vehicles, flying airplanes, the constant relative abundance of energy quanta as subatomic particles is conceptual, independent of size, time, space, sizing. Notice the par in particles as a case in point. It is exciting, therefore, to conceptually recognize a whole WHOLE system and its parts. In parentheses, I point out the PAR in parts, of the most minuscule size that is also in the shortest time. It is as close to 0 time as fractions of a nanosecond, a picosecond, as no time at all, beyond measure, into the invisible range, beyond human visibility, where high-powered microscopes function. In none of these conceptualities is any belief, any believability, not one iota, not one scintilla of paradoxical parody. Coincidentally, the iota is the 9th letter of the Greek alphabet, which compares to jot, J-O-T, meaning a small amount. As Oxford University Press Dictionary shows an example, in quotes, it made not a jot of difference. Presently, we do not use the term jot, so it is decidedly obsolete, out of circulation. Our observations herein can include awareness of obvious contradictions, so that when we consider the generalized principle, it is assuring to learn that if there is one contradiction in a principle, it does not qualify as a generalized principle. To be a generalized principle requires one term on one side of the equal sign and two or more terms on the other side of the equal sign. Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc to the second power, is a generalized principle. And it reads E equal mc to the second power. The number 2 is an exponent written in superscript, but does not automatically show itself thus across various internet platforms. The E is for energy, that is equal to mass for matter times lowercase c for the speed of radiation, light, times itself. Let's recapitulate. Correlating to projecting potential individual design science awareness of the essential education system that can be introduced to our elementary education strategies that obviously are perfectly timed to surpass the excruciating ordeals that are now being set against the children of our nation. Thoughts are systemic of systems. Weightless thought, at minimum, is a conceptuality of the tetrahedron. The tetrahedron is universe's minimum structural system. A conceptuality of its topological characteristics, describing the constant relative abundance of lines, areas, corners, also known as vectors, triangular openings, vertexes. Truth is a relationship, a direction, a conceptuality of the value zero. To be continued in the beginning, ITB 08. Thank you. Reference, Synergetics Table of Contents. Synergetics Figure